Over the next 2 months, some 90,000 Olympic participants from more than 200 countries will be flying into Tokyo, suddenly opening the floodgates for a country that's had its borders closed for most of the pandemic. COVID-19 cases are surging in Japan. Tokyo and large parts of the country are under a state of emergency.
The Olympics will add another burden on the health system, which is already overstretched. As opposed to the symbol of unity and peace and hope, the Olympics become the nightmare for the super spreading event in Tokyo.
Just around 2% of Japan's 126 million people have been fully vaccinated. The rollout slowed down by bureaucracy and a lack of medical staff to administer them. At the current rate, the rest of the adult population won't even be eligible for the vaccine by the time the Olympics begin. Organizers claim the Games will be held in a safe bubble. At this Olympic Village, athletes will be tested daily and monitored with a contact tracing app. Vaccines are not required, but officials say more than 80% of the Olympic Village will be. They're asked to practice social distancing, wear masks except for when training and competing, and to only use public transport when necessary. Now, experts say, though, that it's impossible to keep the massive games completely safe. Plus, they say there are plenty of ways for this bubble to be punctured, as the Olympic participants come into contact with tens of thousands of unvaccinated volunteers who live outside the bubble. Olympic venues are all over Tokyo, with the marathon and some soccer matches held 500 miles north in Sapporo. So whose responsibility is it to keep all these Olympic participants safe? The Olympic playbook puts the ultimate responsibility on the athletes, rather than organizers or the Japanese government. Japan is spending more than $15 billion on these games, the most expensive Summer Olympics on record, including $900 million in COVID countermeasures. But poll after poll shows that the majority in Japan do not want these games held.
I definitely don't think Japan should go ahead with the Olympics.
I'm very scared.
Everyone thinks we shouldn't hold the Olympics, but the government isn't in a position to say that.
Ultimately, it's largely not up to Japan. Olympic contracts are written to favor the IOC, so public opposition, a medical system headed for collapse, cost overruns are all burdens Tokyo will have to bear. The IOC has the legal power to cancel the Olympics, but they plan to plow ahead. Selena Wang, CNN, Tokyo.